What's up, everybody? It's Mike with Reaper Tactics, CQB. Today, we're going to talk about the combat handgun. A lot of people often overlook the importance of the combat handgun. Unfortunately, I see a lot of people who will go out and spend $1,000 to $3,000 for a rifle system or a combat rifle system, and they are not investing the time or the money into their combat handgun. Today's world is a very dangerous place. We have the largest threat to our personal safety as well as the safety of our family and loved ones everywhere this day and time. You turn on the news, unfortunately, recently we've had mass shootings at clubs, we've had mass shootings at bars and Walmarts and arts festivals and churches, unfortunately. We are living in a dangerous society nowadays. So preparedness isn't just for the preppers that you'd associate with stockpiles and hordes of bullets and beans and bunkers, but everyday citizens. So let's talk about the combat handgun. First of all, I want to get into the importance of the combat handgun. A lot of people spend a lot of time practicing with their battle rifle, per se. They'll invest thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into their AR-15 with optics and lights and lasers and foregrips and all kinds of bells and whistles and accessories for their rifle. But on an average, you're not going to have your rifle on you. Your rifle is going to be locked up in your vehicle or maybe at home and not there with you at the Arts and Crafts Festival or the Walmart while you're grocery shopping with your family. Your combat handgun is your everyday carry. That is what's going to be on you at the unfortunate time that you need to protect yourself or protect your family and loved ones. It is ridiculous to me that people want to spend $1,000+ for a combat weapon and only spend maybe $300-400 for a handgun. A lot of people say that the purpose of your handgun is to get you to your rifle. That is not true. 9 out of 10 times, your everyday carry, your handgun, is going to be your primary combat weapon. So wouldn't it make sense to invest the money into your combat handgun, train and be as proficient as possible with your combat handgun? Goes without saying. We're going to discuss this one. This is my everyday carry as well as my combat weapon. As you can see, there is no magazine in this handgun. It is empty and void of a magazine. Yes, I said a magazine. This is not a clip. People, please stop calling it a clip. This is a magazine. The chamber is empty. We'll just do this little test right here so that you can see that the chamber is in fact empty. However, I am going to practice safe firearms safety. Real quick, let's just do a general overview of what we're talking about with a handgun. Those of you who are more up to speed, please overlook this and don't get irritated, but unfortunately there are people out there who do not know anything about handguns. So just please bear with me briefly while I go over this. This is a mid-size Glock. This is my preferred weapon. Like I said, this is my everyday carry as well as my preferred combat piece. The main components is your frame, slide, barrel, front sight, rear sight, ejection port, magazine well, trigger guard, trigger. The Glock does not have a manual safety. So what we're going to do, once again, we're just going to check the chamber. This gun is empty, nothing in the chamber. Magazine is out. Magazine is empty. Like I said before, my preference is the Glock mid-size. The reason that I like the Glock is because it is a safe action handgun, meaning that it does not have any manual safeties on this gun. There is no manual safeties. So in a stressful situation or a rapid response, you do not have to wonder, okay, is my safety on, is my safety off? Your safety is right here in your trigger group. Once this is depressed, it is ready to fire. With the Glock, some of you may notice that this is not your standard out the box Glock. This is my everyday carry, as well as, like I've said many times before, my combat handgun. It has had a little work done to it. First of all, this is a Model 23 Gen 4, which for those of you who are not familiar with the different Glock models, this is actually a 40 S&W. I have rebarreled this Model 23 with a thicker, heavier match grade barrel in a stainless, chambered in 9mm. A lot of people wonder, Mike, why would you chamber a 40 S&W in a 9? Why not just buy a 9? Well, the reason for that is, in a worst case scenario combat situation, it allows me the ability to use the 40 S&W round, as well as the NATO 9mm round. But one of the main reasons is that the .40 S&W is a bigger round. It packs a harder recoil than the 9mm. It's a little sturdier built, kind of, per se. But also with the .40 barrel, you can see the difference in your standard barrel versus the diameter of a match grade barrel. I like the heavier match grade barrel because not only does it add a little weight to it for it to help control the muzzle flip of the recoil, but also gives you improved accuracy by having the thicker walls. Like I said, worst case scenario, in a ultimate shit hits the fan combat scenario, I can easily, I say that, I'm having a little difficulty here, not grabbing that release pin. Anybody who is familiar with Glock knows that Glocks are somewhat easy to disassemble, but it's all about equal pressure. By having the 40 to 9mm conversion, I can easily transition from a 9mm to a 40 S&W. We're going to talk about those mags momentarily, but for the purpose of this video, you're going to want to invest a little bit of money into your combat handgun. Like I said, this is going to be more than likely your primary combat weapon, because the fact that it is an everyday carry. This is more than likely what you're going to have on you should the situation should unfortunately arise that you need to defend yourself, your family, or your loved ones. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy you a Glock. This is my preference. And the reason that I prefer the Glock, like I said earlier, it does not have any manual safeties. The reason that I like the fact that it does not have any manual safeties is because in a stressful situation, life-threatening event, the possibility is real that you may forget to disengage your safety. Speed kills, and any hesitation whatsoever in a gunfight can get you killed, and we don't want that. We do not want that at all. That's why we train, that's why we practice, that's why we become proficient with our weapons. Find you a handgun that you like. What is comfortable for you, what's comfortable in your hand. For me, it is the Glock midsize. I have very large hands. My hands are very large. I wear a size 15 ring, but yet the Glock 19, 23, 32 to me is a good size because it's easy to conceal for everyday carry, as well as it has enough meat to it that you can get a good combat grip on this weapon. And that's what you want, is you want a good, comfortable grip. So there have been a few modifications made to this Glock. You're gonna go out and you're gonna spend thousands of dollars on a tricking out and hot riding your rifle. Unfortunately, most people do not put the same considerations into their handgun. This can be done all at one time, or it can be done gradually and slowly as your budget can afford. For those of you who know Glock and familiar with Glock, you may notice that the frame of this particular Glock is not standard. It has had some modifications done to it. Notably, the recut trigger guard on this Glock. By having it recut and recessed, it allows me to have a higher grip on the frame. And the higher grip is important in accuracy and shooting speed, which we'll get more in depth on in later videos. Another thing that you may notice is that the frame has been stippled. This is so that you have a better contact with the grip of the gun, whether your hands are wet, dry, or whatever. And you may also notice that this particular Glock has a Zev Industries tactical speed wheel on it. It does not add a lot of size difference and overall width of the gun, but it does allow you for a quicker, faster lockup when you changing your magazines. When you are doing a tactical speed load, it helps. To hit the hole. Some of the other things that have been done with this particular one is that a lot of your Glocks have a 7.5 or a 5.5 pound trigger, except for your New York Glocks, who, when the New York City Police Department went to the Glocks, they requested a 17.5 pound trigger pull. That is way too high for a combat weapon. A lot of people prefer the 7.5 or the 5.5 pound trigger pull, which I recommend for new shooters. But this particular one, the disconnector has been replaced with a Ghost Industries Ghost trigger at 3.5 pounds. The reason for that is to lighten up that trigger pull for a smoother squeeze of the trigger. By having the smoother squeeze, you're less likely to pull your sights off as you're firing your weapon. The Ghost trigger also eliminates a lot of the creep associated with the Glock trigger. Secondly, slide. This slide is standard. Nothing special about the slide. The barrel, or barrels, the blued barrel is factory, chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. The stainless steel barrel is a heavy match barrel, stainless match barrel made by Double Diamond. It is a 40 to 9mm conversion barrel. It's just a match great. The weight difference of these barrels is not that significant, but you will notice a slight difference when you're shooting. I want you to look at the difference in the walls of the barrel. And the reason that the wall thickness is important is because improved accuracy. As the bullet travels down the barrel, the gases cause the barrel to expand. It's going to expand more and throw your shot off with a thinner wall than it's going to with a thicker, heavier wall, which is going to improve your accuracy downrange. But what about mags? What about mags, Mike? Okay. This is a 9mm magazine. This magazine, this particular magazine, is made by ProMag. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize. It's a Magpul P-Mag in a 9mm. This magazine is a Glock factory Model 23 magazine, as you can see right there, in 40 S&W. You may not be able to tell the difference in this video. However, the 40 S&W round is slightly larger in diameter than your 9mm. It's a little bit fatter of a round. With that being said, as you can clearly see, 9mm fits in the 40, and it feeds perfect. You will not have any feed issues. Now, this is a 9mm magazine. This is a 40 S&W. The 40 will fit and it'll lock in to your 9mm mag. Occasionally, you can have issues with a feed, occasionally, but not necessarily. So, the question, is the 9mm and the 40 magazines interchangeable? Yeah, they are. So, what I do, myself personally, is that I have 3 9mm magazines. 4 40 S&W magazines. Like I said, the main reason for this is to accommodate a different round if necessary due to ammo supply and a true combat situation. But let's just talk about everyday carry. Let's talk about the combat handgun in an everyday carry situation. Like I said before, everyday survival situation, combat situation, self-defense situation, you are 9 out of 10 times going to have your everyday carry, your combat handgun with you, as opposed to your AR-15 or your tricked out AK-47 or your MP5, whatever you're running, for your primary battle weapon, your primary combat rifle, or as you'll hear me refer to it as on at Reaper Tactics, as your primary battle rifle, PBR. You cannot carry your PBR across your back when you go to Walmart. And contrary to what some people think out there, Walmart did not ban the carrying of firearms in their stores. Walmart banned the open carry in their stores. Like I have said many times before, if you are open carrying, you have already lost your tactical advantage of surprise in the first place. There is no reason why you should be carrying your gun in an open and exposed manner, because you are giving up your tactical advantage of surprise. People know that you're carrying. Lights keep dimming and flickering on the camera. I don't know how it's affecting the video. I'll take the hat off, see if that kind of helps. Keep my face lit up a little bit more. As you can see, it is kind of a cloudy, overcast day, so that might be what's going on with the camera. I apologize. But back to the combat weapon. CQC and CQB, the difference is close quarters battle and close quarters combat. I can do an entirely different video on CQC and CQB, but the primary difference is that CQC is a broader variety of weapons, but CQB, we're concentrating more on the gun. So with that being said, don't want to wander off topic, but the CQ close quarters is what we're going to talk about. Close quarters is a term that was coined by Sykes Fairbairn Applegate. It comes from the British Special Services. That was their theory. Close quarters is 15 to 18 meters. By FBI Department of Justice statistics, most self-defense shootings occur within 3 to 21 feet. So within 3 to 21 feet, the handgun is perfect choice for close quarters, because at that range, this weapon is very effective at that range. This weapon, with the proper training, you can engage 50, 75 yards with the handgun. There are a variety of companies out there who make a variety of holsters and carry options. Unfortunately, one of my holsters fell off the table earlier, so if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go across there, pick it up, check out the sky. One of my pet peeves, like I said in the other video, I have a lot of pet peeves, but a good quality combat handgun that you are going to essentially be betting your life on it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of money to get it where you want it. I see people walking around everyday carry open. They'll have a gun that they have $800, $1,000, $1,500 invested in their gun, and they're walking around with that gun in a piece of crap nylon Uncle Mike sidekick or bulldog nylon holster with a little spring belt clip that their gun's flopping around, got a little strap with a push button, undo or snap, and unsnap it. I'm not bashing anybody if that's all that they can afford. There are several options out there that are better options for about the same price, maybe a few bucks more. Why do you want to invest $800 to $1,000 or more into your combat handgun and have it secured by a $15 piece of nylon? There are a lot of options out there depending on how you want to carry. Remember, we are talking combat handgun today for the purpose of everyday carry. You want to carry concealed. We know this because we don't want to give up our tactical advantage with the element of surprise and let everybody know that we have a gun. So you have a lot of different options out there for EDC. You have the Kydex varieties of inside the pants holsters. They have their place and their time. One of the reasons that I like them is because they're rather quick to move. If I want to go from a FedEx carry to